She said my friends get embarrassed for me if I let you come along. Imagine this, you're head over heels planning the perfect night out with your girl and her crew. But then she drops the bomb, my friends get embarrassed for me if I let you come along. Ouch, that stinging rejection hits like a freight train, leaving you questioning everything. Was it your jokes, your style, or something deeper that could shatter your world? Stick around as I spill the raw, unfiltered truth behind this brutal moment and how it flipped my life upside down. You won't believe what happened next.
Hey, story lover. Welcome to the Narrative Hub, Reddit Stories. Believe me, this adventure gets wild, but it's only epic with you. Seriously, you make this possible. Want more stories? Greater adventure? Smash subscribe right now. Smash like. Comment below. Let's go.
My brain just stopped. It was like trying to run in deep water. The air in my apartment, which seconds ago had been electric with anticipation for the foundation gala, turned thick and cold. I was holding a brand new charcoal gray tie, the silk cool against my sweating palm. Lisa Johnson just stood there, her arms crossed, already in her emerald green dress, looking like $1,000,000 and delivering a sentence that made me feel like I was worth nothing. What? I managed, my voice a dry croak. What did you just say? She sighed, the sound a perfect blend of impatience and feigned pity. Tyler, don't make me repeat it. It's just, Karen and the girls, it's a big night, it's a look, and we're trying to project a certain image. She wouldn't meet my eyes, which was somehow worse. She was looking at a spot on the wall just over my shoulder, as if I were a piece of furniture she was deciding to put into storage. An image, I repeated, the tie now feeling like a noose. And I'm not part of it. Don't be dramatic, she snapped, her tone hardening. The pity was gone, replaced by the sharp edge of the executive I knew she was. It's just one night, it's for my career, their careers, it's complicated, you wouldn't get it. That was the real dagger, you wouldn't get it. For 3 years, I had supported her. I was the one who listened to her vent about Karen Carter's backstabbing. I was the one who coded the prototypes for her passion project until 3 in the morning. I was her rock. And now, suddenly, I was the anchor dragging her down. The smell of her expensive perfume filled the silence. I stared at her, really looked at her. The woman I thought I was building a future with was looking at me like I was a problem to be managed. The gala. The foundation gala. This wasn't just a party. It was the biggest networking event of the year, hosted by the city's most powerful venture capital firm. We were both supposed to go. I had been the one to get the initial invite through a contact. I'd given my +1 to her. A slow, cold fire started in my stomach. So I'm just supposed to stay here while you go and pretend. What, that you're single, that I don't exist? Lisa finally looked at me, her eyes cold and appraising like she was calculating risk. It's just, your energy, Tyler, you're always on, you try so hard, you talk to everyone, it's not. Sophisticated, my friends, they're trying to close deals, they need focus. You're a distraction. A distraction. My brain flashed back, a rapid, jarring montage. Me at the bar last month making a circle of investors laugh. Me at the tech mixer sketching out an idea on a napkin that had 2 VCs nodding. Me being the person I always was. And I saw her in every memory standing just outside the circle, smiling. But was it a smile or a grimace? The pressure had been building. The private conversations she'd have with Karen Carter in the other room, the sudden girls' nights that were mandatory, the weird glances when I'd walk in while she was on a work call. I had chalked it up to stress. I was a fool. It wasn't stress, it was conspiracy. No, I said. The word was quiet, but it landed in the room with the force of a brick. She blinked, surprised. No, what? Tyler, the car is downstairs. We don't have time for this. No, I said again, louder. I dropped the tie on the dresser. I'm not staying home. That invitation had my name on it first, remember? I'm going. Her face went through a rapid series of emotions. Shock, then anger, then fear. It was the fear that caught my attention. It was a bright, flashing warning light. Don't be ridiculous, she hissed, grabbing her clutch. You're going to come and, what? Prove a point. You'll just make it worse. You'll make me look stupid. You'll make yourself look desperate. Then I guess we'll all look stupid together, I said, walking to the closet and pulling out my best jacket. You can go ahead in your car. I'll get my own. I wouldn't want to embarrass you on the ride over. She looked like she wanted to scream, but she was trapped. Causing a scene here would make her late, and if I knew Karen Carter, being late was a cardinal sin. Fine, she spat. Do what you want, but don't say I didn't warn you. You're blowing this for both of us. The door slammed. The apartment was silent again, but the air was different. It was toxic. I stood there for a full minute, my heart hammering against my ribs. I had two options. I could slink away and accept my place as the embarrassing boyfriend, or I could walk into that gala and force a confrontation that would expose every single truth, no matter how ugly. I put on the jacket. I grabbed my keys. This wasn't about a party anymore. This was war. The ride to the gala was a blur. My mind was racing, replaying every interaction, every shared look, every whispered comment for the last 6 months. What had I missed? What was this really about? It couldn't just be my jokes. It couldn't just be my energy. It was something bigger, something transactional. I arrived at the museum, a stunning glass and steel structure overlooking the river. I walked past the valise, past the velvet ropes, and into the main hall. The place was dripping with money. Chandeliers, champagne fountains, and a low, powerful hum of people making deals. I spotted her immediately. Lisa. She was in a tight circle with Karen Carter and two other women I recognized from her team. They were talking to Margaret Mitchell, the matriarch of the VC firm, the woman who could make or break a company with a single check. Lisa was laughing, her hand on Margaret's arm, looking every bit the sophisticated executive she claimed to be. She hadn't seen me yet. I stayed at the edge of the room, grabbing a glass of water, watching. I needed to understand the battlefield before I made my move. I saw Scott Lopez by the silent auction tables. Scott was in our wider circle, a good guy, maybe a little weak, but he worked for one of the competing firms. He saw me and his eyes went wide. He started to walk the other way. I intercepted him. "Scott, good to see you, man," he winced, giving me a weak handshake. "Tyler, hey, wow, didn't expect to see you here." "Why not?" I kept my voice casual. Scott fidgeted with his drink. "Oh, just with the way things are, I stared at him. "I don't actually, why don't you tell me, Scott?" He looked over his shoulder, terrified. "Look, man, I don't want to get in the middle of this." "The middle of what?" My voice was getting harder. "Dude, the pitch," he whispered, leaning in. "Everyone's talking about it, Lisa. She really went for it, cutthroat. I've never seen anything like it, taking it. Well, my blood went cold. Taking what? What pitch?" Scott looked at me, his expression a mix of pity and disbelief. "Wait, you don't know? Oh, man, oh. This is bad, you really don't know? Tell me." "The Apex grant," he said, the words hitting me like stones. "The big one, the one Margaret Mitchell is funding, the incubator project. Lisa's pitch. It was your project, man. Connect Life. The whole thing, your code, your schematics, your name scrubbed from every slide. She presented it as hers, lock, stock, and barrel." The room tilted. The chandeliers, the laughter, the music, it all faded into a deafening roar. Connect Life, my baby. The project I'd been building in my spare time for 2 years. The one I'd poured my heart, my soul, and my savings into. The one I had shared with Lisa. Every late-night coding session. Every "what do you think of this?" Every time I'd excitedly explained a breakthrough. She wasn't my supporter. She was my competition. She wasn't just my girlfriend. She was a corporate spy living in my apartment. And I had handed her the weapon to destroy me, the embarrassment. It all made a horrible, perfect sense. She wasn't embarrassed by me. She was terrified of me. She was terrified I'd walk into this room, talk to Margaret Mitchell, and say, "Oh, Connect Life, great project, I built it." She hadn't been protecting her image. She had been protecting her lie. Her friends weren't embarrassed for her. They were her co-conspirators. Karen Carter was probably her new partner. They were laughing at me, the charity case, the fool. The guy who built the rocket only to have his girlfriend steal it and fly it to the moon. Rage, pure and clean, burned away the shock. I didn't feel shame, I felt focused. This wasn't a breakup. This was a hostile takeover. I looked back at the circle. Lisa was still smiling at Margaret Mitchell. Karen Carter caught my eye from across the room. Her smile widened. It was a victor's smile. It was a dare. I started walking. I wasn't just a distraction. I was the main event. They parted for me as I approached, the way a crowd parts for an accident. Lisa's face went pale. The blood drained from her face so fast I thought she might faint. Karen's smile faltered, her eyes narrowing. Margaret Mitchell, however, just looked intrigued. "Well," Margaret said, her voice like gravel. "This looks like an interesting development. Lisa, I don't believe you've introduced us to your friend." Lisa's mouth opened, but no sound came out. She was trapped. Karen stepped in, smooth as ice. "Margaret, this is Tyler Perez. He's an old friend of Lisa's. He was just leaving." "Was I?" I said, smiling. I held out my hand to Margaret. "Tyler Perez, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm the lead architect behind Connect Life. Lisa is a fantastic project manager. I couldn't have organized it without her." The silence was absolute. You could have heard a pin drop on the marble floor. Lisa looked like she'd been shot. Corinne's jaw was tight. Margaret's sharp eyes flicked from my face to Lisa's, then back to mine. She knew. In that instant, she knew she was standing between the thief and the creator. Lead architect, Margaret said, her voice dangerously quiet. That's interesting. Lisa's presentation was very singular. She gave the impression she was the sole visionary. Oh, she's a visionary, all right, I said, my smile not wavering. I looked right at Lisa, my eyes burning into hers. She saw potential in a project that she knew she couldn't build herself, so she brought in the best. Me, we're a team, you see. She's the brilliant face, the one who handles the networking. And I'm the one who actually makes it work. Isn't that right? Babe, I had her. She couldn't deny it. If she denied me, she'd have to explain to Margaret Mitchell why the lead architect was claiming the project was his. She would expose her own fraud in front of her biggest investor. If she agreed, I was in. I had just promoted myself from embarrassing boyfriend to co-founder. Lisa's eyes were screaming. She was cornered and she knew it. The calculation was visible on her face. Ruin it all now or live to fight another day. She forced a laugh, a high, brittle sound. Oh, Tyler, she said, sliding her hand onto my arm. It felt like a snake. You're so dramatic, always stealing the spotlight. Yes, Margaret, this is my brilliant partner. I'm just the one who wrangles him. We were just having a little disagreement earlier. Weren't we, honey? He was feeling left out. I laughed with her. Left out, never. I was just making sure the car was parked. I turned back to Margaret. The truth is, Ms. Mitchell, the Connect life you saw, that was just the prototype, the real platform, what I'm calling phase 2. That's where the real disruption is. Lisa's presentation was just the appetizer. I'm the main course. Corinne Carter looked like she was going to have an aneurysm. She had been cut out. This was between me and Lisa now. Margaret Mitchell's eyes glittered with something new, respect. She didn't care about the drama. She cared about the deal. Phase 2, she said. I like the sound of that. My office. Monday, 9 a.m. both of you. Don't be late. And Mr. Perez, bring your schematics. She turned and walked away, her handlers trailing in her wake. Music swelled back in, the party resuming around us, but our little circle was a war zone. Corinne was the first to speak. You, she hissed at me, her face a mask of fury. You think you're so smart. Smarter than you, I shot back, my voice low. You backed the wrong horse. I turned to Lisa. The mask was gone. Her face was pure, unfiltered hatred. You ruined everything, she whispered, her voice shaking. You just cost us. You embarrassed me. Embarrassed you? I laughed, a real, bitter laugh. My friends get embarrassed for me if I let you come along. Was that the line? It was never about them being embarrassed for you. It was about you being embarrassed that the guy you were stealing from was standing right next to you. You didn't want me here because I'm the only one in this entire building who knows you're a fraud. It was my idea, she shrieked, for a second forgetting where she was. You were just the keyboard, the plumbing. I gave it vision. You gave it a new font and a PowerPoint, I said, my voice flat and dead. You took my work and you tried to erase me, and you were almost good enough to get away with it, but you made one mistake. What? She whispered. You forgot I'm better at this than you are. You're a shark, Lisa, but you're swimming in my ocean. You wanted my company, fine, you've got it, but you're not getting it without me. We're partners now, lock, stock, and barrel. I straightened my jacket. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go get a drink, and I'm going to talk to everyone. I'm going to have the time of my life. And you're going to stand right next to me, and you're going to smile, because if you don't, I'm going to walk right back over to Margaret Mitchell and tell her all about phase 2. And I'll tell her how it's designed to make phase 1, your phase, completely obsolete. Her face went white. She understood the threat. I wasn't just joining the company, I was holding the kill switch. I gave her a cold smile, the one I'd seen her use on so many others. Go on, I said. Look happy, your friends are watching. I turned and walked toward the bar, not looking back. The night was just beginning. The lie had been exposed, the battle lines were drawn, and the embarrassing boyfriend was now the most dangerous man in the room. They had wanted a world of cutthroat competition. I was just fine with that. I was going to take back my company, and I was going to do it from the inside.